Hello everyone, I have for you today an epic battle. Godzilla vs. X-Men, a monster mutant battle of rage, compassion, and plot twists. Let's get into it. In a world that fears them, the X-Men are protectors. But when that world is in danger from Godzilla, the king of monsters, what does it do? What if the world uses monstrous weapons against him? And what if those monstrous weapons turn on mutant kind as well? This one-shot is part of Marvel's V's series and matches up the classic 90s X-Men team with a force of nature that is well beyond their league. It's created by Fabian Nicieza on pencils, with Emilio Lizo providing the artwork. Let's get started where the story gets started. On Japanese ground, beneath the shadow of atomic breath, we make our entrance at the Imabari shipyards, a plant operated by the robot company Tsugunai. There, mutant Sunfire, Shiro Yoshida, awaits. He's burning with energy radiation, set on stopping the destruction. From ocean and horizon, Godzilla towers, gigantic, thundering, tension in every tile. Sunfire unleashes a blast of solar fire, but the lizard's atomic breath gives as good as it gets. Sunfire presses ahead, unleashing all his firepower, but every blow seems small against Godzilla's enormous bulk. At one point, they engage in a beam battle. Solar flare, via atomic breath, air ripples, water splashes, metal creaks. But Godzilla's power is too great. The kaiju's beam shatters Sunfire's defenses, sending the mutant stumbling, defeated, into the ocean. Water crashes as he dives beneath the waves. The story explains, for the third time in a few weeks, Godzilla has attacked a Tsugunai plant. The monster has its target. You already have an underlying issue. Sunfire cannot even handle a beast of this magnitude on his own. It establishes high stakes early on. The X-Men have to bring more than just people. They have to bring synergy. Cut to a futuristic conference room, although in this instance, several of the attendees come via hologram. Professor Charles Xavier speaks to Mr. Kaneto, a rep for Tsugunai Robotics, among others. It's a crisis-level meeting. Kaneto, fearful, argues they should unleash heavy weaponry, missiles, military-grade responses, but others push back. We've tried brute force before. It fails. Xavier calmly states the mutant position. The world hates and fears mutants. They themselves know what it is to be persecuted. So this fight is not against humanity, but against panic and misunderstanding. Kaneto threatens that the sympathies of the X-Men are with Godzilla. The humans retort that mutants can protect both man and mutant. Xavier demands that the X-Men, guardians of the threatened, are best suited to broker this battle. Godzilla vanishes into the sea, and mutants must deal with the consequences. And this is the core of the theme. Both mutants and Godzilla are feared, misunderstood. This is not a story of flesh and blood battles, but of point of view and understanding. The monsters of the mind are frequently worse than those of size. At Xavier's Institute, meanwhile, the X-Men gather. Cyclops, Scott Summers, Storm, Jean Grey, Beast, Wolverine, Gambit. The entire team. Plans must be made. Cyclops speaks of charging the attack, using their abilities wisely. Gambit indicates merging energies. Jean and Xavier imply that telepathy and empathy will allow them to speak to Godzilla, to determine if there is cause behind the destruction. Beast asks about the monster's biology, behavioral patterns. Storm asks if Storm's nature itself have anything to do with it. They come to their senses. They can't kill Godzilla with sheer power. They'll create a hybrid solution. A behemoth robot fueled by mutant power, crafted out of super adaptoid and amplified by PIM particles, infused with the X-Men's ability. They'll amplify their strengths, divide their burdens, and meet the monster as one. In fact, a mutant Mechazilla is forged from their combined will. This is extremely 90s comic book logic. Stretch what you already have. But story-wise, it's saying, single-handedly, you fail. Together, you may succeed. And the notion of translating Godzilla's emotional state is paramount. They don't just want to kill him, they want to comprehend him. Right before the ultimate showdown, we see a flashback of previous battles between Godzilla and other kaiju. It speaks about how Godzilla has fought with monsters such as Biolante, Fire Rodan, Batra, old arch-nemesis, and how these fights have left physical and mental scars. And we see him battling Anguirus in 1955 in a less civilized, less ready world. These memories, distant as they are, inform who he is. A monster created out of battle, ever battling danger, despised by the people he defends. The flashback emphasizes Godzilla is old, violent, but also saddled with history. He is not merely a runaway animal. He is the result of struggle and intent. The time comes. The X-Men mech, a fantastic combination of metal and mutant ability, rises on terra firma. Its form mirrors the X shape. Arms imbued with telekinesis, sunlight power, kinetics, claws. Godzilla rages out of the ocean, atomic breath fueled. The fight begins. The mech defends, forms, attacks. Godzilla retaliates with immense strength, crushes terrain, demolishes piers, tears metal. Cyclops fires optic beams through machinery. Storm unleashes storms above. Jean and Xavier control psionic shields. Wolverine's claws slash. Gambit charges panels and fires kinetic blasts. Beast manipulates mass. Every X-power is grafted onto the giant. They exchange blow for blow. The giant adaptoid deflects an atomic breath, returns with combined mutant power, but Godzilla refuses to stop. Bursts armor, delivers crushing blows. The mech staggers, circuits flash. At the height, Cyclops orders, "All systems, full power now." The mech diverts all mutant power. A fusion beam bursts forward. Godzilla unleashes its might. The two might meet in impossible proportion. The sky glows, the sea churns, metal distorts, the earth shakes. The mech holds Mao, but just barely. It begins to strain. Godzilla roars. The sea backlights him, energy ebbing. The X-powered machine threatens to collapse under its own weight. And then, this is the iconic mutant Megazord moment. It's cinematic in comics, but risky. It takes everything from the X-Men. See how the narrative never bestows raw power on a single hero. Triumph has to be from synergy, from giving. While the battle rages on, Jean Grey and Xavier surf the psychic interface. They breach Godzilla's mind. Here, we move from spectacle to mindspace, thought vision, emotional resonance, sense without words. Godzilla doesn't process in English or rational thought. He processes in raw emotion, fear, anger, isolation, hate, defense. Xavier and Jean sort through the mess. Godzilla's rampages are not random. He is attacking what he believes is a threat, specifically corporations that abuse technology. In their common psychic bridge, Xavier begs to be understood. You are more than monster. They fear you. They hate you. But we, mutants, know pain. Ostracism. Let us show you a way. At the precipice, Godzilla's atomic roar hesitates. The mech advances to make the killing blow. But in lieu of death, a silent agreement is reached. Godzilla's body glows softly as though responding to the empathic entreaty. He retreats, slowly, regally, away from the mech, away from battle. The beam stops. The X-Men stand hesitant, taut, optimistic. The battlefield is left devastated. Mangled metal, broken docks, water gushes. Quiet descent. The mech lowers its arms. The mutants converge, bruised but alive. This conclusion isn't about victorious devastation. It's about relation. Godzilla isn't their pet, but he respects their effort. It speaks to an old X-Men ideal. We struggle not just for life, but for harmony. After the fact, the X-Men take in the devastation. Suganai's buildings lie in ruins, swaths of coastline destroyed. Governments argue about extreme actions. Kanito and the other businessmen rush to assign blame, assert damages. Mutants are suspect once more. Professor Xavier addresses his team. This was a battle of more than strength. We've seen what misunderstanding does. Our work isn't over, Cyclops nods, weary but determined. Jean stands at Xavier's side, silently linking her emotions to his. Meanwhile, far off the coast, Godzilla's silhouette submerges into the sea. He doesn't vanish entirely. He lingers in the deep, watching, waiting. The final narration line, in a world that's afraid of what it doesn't know, monsters and mutants walk shadowed roads. But when bravery attempts to span that gap, that is where hope starts. And thus concludes Godzilla vs. X-Men #1, a battle of power, intellect, and compassion, quantum judgment. And there you have it, Godzilla vs. X-Men in story form. It's not just a spectacle, it's a tale about two types of outsiders facing the world's fear. Monsters we battle are not always claws and teeth. They're also prejudice, misunderstanding, and anger.